I am playing a THPS career every day until 3+4 comes out. Today's video. What's going on, gamers? Welcome back to THPS Every Day. Playing Pro Skater 3 for, I don't know why I'm going to tell you the platform now, but PC. But yeah, we're playing as Elissa steamer today. Let's see what flip tricks she has. Judo Madonna is pretty common. That's a lip trick. Ew. Yeah, we'll do confident. I don't really care for changing the trick. I just need the button binds to be better. So let's fucking get this show on the road, guys. Same session as last video. I've now drank and died coffee, and I'm fucking ready to go, bro. Imagine not being able to get that. But yeah, no. Same shit, different day. I hope everyone's getting pretty hyped for 3+4. The THPS Fest is actually while I'm at PAX, and I'm excited to see what they got going on. I'm not gonna know immediately because I think I'll probably be busy during the time that that's happening. But, you know, maybe. I didn't actually mean to get A, but I'm glad that it worked out like that. But I will be watching. I don't tweet anymore on Twitter, which is crazy. Let me just say something really quick, and I know this is probably going to be really an aggressive start to a video. I have been on Twitter since Twitter has been around. Since almost the very beginning of Twitter, okay? Like, my account is very old. And I'm old. And I understand that. It took the site being turned to what it is today, like X, to get me off of Twitter. That's how awful Twitter is. And, you know, whatever. It's better that I'm not on Twitter. I've come to realize. But it's also, it could be a product of me being older. You know, where there's less things that I need to see, and I need to be less concerned with certain things. But that's never stopped me before. And hell if it's going to stop me now. I do not use any sort of posting site. I mean, I have Facebook, right, for like friends and stuff like that. But I don't post anything. I've never posted on Facebook, and I don't really like posting on Facebook. I don't really like, it's not that I have anything to be ashamed of, right? I just don't like sharing my personal life with anybody, like, ever. Like, the only person that matters in this world is my family and my wife. And I only share information with my wife. I don't even share it with my family sometimes. So my overall thought that I was going with here is that I really wish that I miss old Twitter, right? And I'm sure there's sites out there that fucking do the same shit, just in a different format, and it's like more, I guess, old Twitter-esque. I don't think that's what I really want anymore. I think I'm good with the silence that having no Twitter provides me. And I've definitely seen a healthier, like, increase in mental health by doing that. But I also understand that as, like, a content creator, if that's what you even want to call me, it kind of restricts you too, where it's like, you don't post anything, whatever. That's fine. If that's what it takes, that's fine. I'm really okay with that. I'm really okay with not having Twitter if it means that my social media platform suffers, quote. I don't care. But that's just my fucking really old man yells at cloud perspective on Twitter. I don't know if anyone else feels that way with how Twitter ended up. And it's not anything to do with like Elon, blah blah blah. Like the site itself just fucking sucks. The way that the site just works. Like now that it's like has paid subscriptions and shit like that, and different things like that. It's just I don't know. I guess my thought on Twitter was that it was like it was more of an embodiment of like a I say free speech, but it's more so like free as in doesn't cost you anything, and it doesn't cost anything to use Twitter, right? But it really does. It costs you something just to, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. And that by no means is this political. This is just me rambling about a fucking site that I used to like going on and I no longer like going on. Because as an adult, I am no longer interested in hearing a bunch of middle-aged people talk on my timeline. If I have to spend like fucking hours like curating my own timeline to not be toxic, like on the regular, that's just crazy. And I'm totally okay with not having Twitter. I miss it some days. I logged in the other day because I had to, because I needed to get someone's business information. I wanted to buy an RGH Xbox 360, and I had to log into Twitter to get their email. And that was the last time I logged into Twitter. And honestly, it's good that I did because I don't want my account to be removed. I should just download the archive of my tweets because, dude, there are some fucking gems in there from when I was a child. I've had Twitter since like 2000, mid 2008, I believe. And I was way too young for that. If I think 2008, I was 2008, man. Mathing right now. 5 plus 8 is 13. I was 13 when I had Twitter, and that's pretty normal nowadays. But I also had Skype, I had IRC. I had a lot of means of communicating with strangers online, and made a lot of great friends. I was very careful on the internet, believe it or not. I was never one to. I was pretty keen to it from jump. I've been on the internet for a while, and even as a kid, like I've always been a very skeptical kid, I should say. Not to say I haven't done anything irresponsible online, right? It's just here I am on YouTube. I mean, I made a YouTube channel. That was pretty irresponsible. Look where I am now. I have to fucking play this game every goddamn day of my life. But early internet was fun. And it's because of probably the childhood whimsy of it, right? Where it was like... It was fun because it was pretty unhinged back then, and I was also a child. So it was really funny to be a child on the internet. But it can also be very dangerous. So, just... With great power comes great responsibility, right, Spider-Man? My parents did not know. So I'm just telling you right now, this was not something my parents curated for me. This was my own damn doing. I had dial-up when I was in, like, grade school. And I had dial-up. I've had internet for as long as I fucking know. As is pretty much what I'm getting at. I haven't known much. And it's not like back then it was like rotting my brain. It was just like a fun thing that we had. And I've always been on the computer because we had like a family computer and stuff like that. But it was never to the point of like, I guess, like how it is today. I feel like today is a very again, I'm gonna go old man yells at cloud here. It's kind of a brain rotty kind of experience to be on the internet. Back then, it was just fun, I guess. It was just kind of a it was a unique experience every time you got on the internet. That's for sure. And maybe it still is like that, and I just don't. My childhood wonder is now depleted. You know? But, you know, I don't go on the internet now to be like... I don't go on the internet to really talk to anybody. I think that's... I think that's what I'm doing wrong these days, is that I'm never on the internet to... I never have an objective on the internet, right? Back then, I had an objective because you only had so much time on the internet, which I think kind of worked out in, like, the favor of the internet because it was so cool. It was so cool, and you only had so much time on it before someone wanted to fucking kick you off. Back then, on dial-up, I know my demographic here is not, you know, children. These are, I'm probably talking to the generation that had this issue, where it's like, when you were on the internet on dial-up and someone wanted to use the telephone, you couldn't do both, right? You had to get off the internet or you had to get off the phone. That's pretty much it. And we had back in the dial-up days. I know this is kind of going on tangent, but I'm just kind of giving you deep cuts of my lore here. Hold on. I want to get skate when I do this. Back when I had dial-up, the kind of games I was playing, I don't know if anyone's ever, I have never met anyone else. Actually, I have met someone else that has played this game. Active Worlds. It's kind of like, honestly, it felt very much like, that was really fucking sick, by the way. I hope you guys appreciated that one. It was like a game where you could like create your own worlds and like have people play them. So it was kind of like early renditions of like a Gary's Mod-y kind of thing, where like you would like create these worlds and create your own like little communities and stuff like that. And I played that a lot on dial-up. I also played a lot of RuneScape, which is no surprise. That's just, I'm probably the embodiment of a RuneScape player. What else I play on dial-up? Oh my god, here's a deep cut. If anybody, I need to know this immediately if you know what I'm talking about. And I'm serious. If you watching this know anything about My Coke Studios or Coke Studios, it went through a rename for a while. If any of you watching this played My Coke Studios when you were younger, please let me know. That was one of the greatest fucking games I've ever played online ever. And that's not just like a moment of like, oh, I was a child and whatever. That game was fucking insane. It was I'm going to compare it to Habbo Hotel because it was pretty much the exact same art style as Habbo. And I think that Habbo happened because of My Coke Studios. But My Coke Studios was an online chat room game like Habbo Hotel, right? Where you like have your own rooms and stuff like that and you go through it. But the concept of the game was to create music, kind of like if you've ever used like GarageBand, you like create these like this music through like samples and shit like that. Your goal was barely a goal. You would create music and you would play it in front of people in these like clubs and everything like that. and you would wait in line for these clubs to go in and or play at the clubs, and like you would get like in-game currency, right, if your music was good or people liked it and shit like that. And it was literally just like an online chat room for like everybody, and you could create your own little rooms and stuff like that, kind of like fucking Club Penguin and shit like that. Also played that. And yeah, you would just create music. It was literally the coolest fucking thing ever. I've never seen a game like that before in my life, like since, other than Habba Hotel, because it looks like Habba Hotel. It was probably just as predatory as Habba Hotel, I will admit. I talked to a lot of sketchy people on there, but legitimately that was one of the coolest games. I've never seen that game get a revival. I've seen people talk about it, like on Reddit and everything, but legitimately crazy game. So please, for the love of God, if you have ever heard of that game or if you've ever played that game, you gotta let me know. I need to know. Like, I know it's so niche, right? I'm in the most niche community I could probably put myself in, and I'm asking to know if there's like any other fellow nichers out there. Um, and I'm taking a long time in airport here because I'm talking about this, but I'm legit, bro. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. My phone's going off. I'm legit. I think that it's seriously one of the coolest. I've never seen a game like that. And if there is a game like that that sounds familiar like that, that isn't like a fucking cesspool of creeps and shit like that, please let me know. Because legitimately, I miss that shit. Oh, I didn't get the 6 score. That's what I was trying to figure out. But yeah, that's stuff I played while I was on dial-up. Club Penguin was a huge one too. I met a lot of interesting people on Club Penguin when I was a kid. I had another wonderful thing on my resume here. I played Club Penguin on, like, not on launch, but I was one of the very few, it feels, in this generation to play that game the year it came out. I played that game. I have an OBS recording of my last day in Club Penguin on my original account because it made me so sad that my account that I've worked so hard on would be no more. And I think I used it. I think honestly, it's probably going to be a time capsule, like, kind of situation where I keep that recording to myself. I'm never going to upload that because that's kind of like cringe. But yeah, my account was as old as it got because I was in fucking grade school when that game came out, and my friend Aaron had a LAN PC set up, and we would play Halo, and then when we were done with Halo, we would play Club Penguin. You don't need LAN for Club Penguin, but when you have 2 computers and, you know, he had DSL, so his internet connection was fast, and we would just like sit there, cross move each other, playing Club Penguin, walking around, shit like that. Great memories, awesome memories with that. And I think I've always gravitated towards MMO games, and I think it's mainly because I think there's a lot of deep-rooted issues with it that I'm not going to get into. I just really liked talking to people online, and I've grown now as an adult. I absolutely hate talking to people online. So I just had to get it all out while I was a child. Nobody took advantage of me while I was a child, so maybe I just wasn't cool enough, I guess. But I had a great time with all of those MMOs, and It makes me sad too that I don't actively put myself out there to talk to people because I still play MMOs. I'm still very active in World of Warcraft. But I don't talk to anybody. Like, I don't make any friends. And I feel like, I think it's a product of, like, I'm afraid to make friends because I know as an adult I can't commit to the kind of time that I had as a child. Because, like, when you're a kid, you have so much fucking time, bro. You have an insane amount of time to do anything you want. Like, when I would get home from school, I would just be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna hop on fucking Halo. And that's what I did. I hopped on Halo every fucking day because time was infinite for me. And now as an adult, it's like, no, I got shit to do. I have to work in the morning and shit like that. I'm less so worried about the work in the morning, but I'm more so focused, I would say, on spending time with my wife and spending time with my real life friends and stuff like that. Then I'm kind of not, I guess, taking advantage of playing online with other people too, like starting new friendships and stuff like that. And I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I mean? I had a lot of friendships. I think I would like to consider I still do in the Tony Hawk community because I still talk to everybody that I used to talk to. I still talk to Crad constantly. And I still talk to everybody in THPS3. I cannot get a combo going, by the way. But I used to be a lot more involved, but it was because I was, let's be real here, guys. I was pretty lonely, and I didn't have many people to talk to, and I was also going through a lot. So it's like, you know, am I really worried about making new friends? Do I really want to make new friends? I don't know. When they come up in real life, it's different than when they do online, right? That's how it always is. If I meet somebody like through, you know, like like the latest band I'm in, I didn't know any of the guys except for one dude because he wanted me in the band. And now I know fucking 3 new dudes that I probably would have never met in my life otherwise, and they're awesome. So it's like, that's different, right? That's a different kind of like friendship approach where it's like you're kind of thrown into something, but you end up making the best out of it because you all want to make something cool. I think online, you know, I don't know. I guess I don't even know how to approach that anymore with online friends. And it sounds like I'm like dying to have online friends. I'm not. I'm saying, I'm really not. I just think, as an adult, it's interesting to look back at how I've grown as someone on the internet. Where it's like, I used to love making friends, and now I don't. And I think I just, I'm reflecting on that. And if that's too personal, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of rambling here. Because it's an interesting thing, right? It's an interesting thought of, like, you don't think about your time on the internet until you reflect back on it, right? You're not actively on the internet being like, I wonder where I'm going to be, you know, on the internet here in a couple years. No, you're thinking about where you're going to be as a person. You don't think about your internet fucking persona, I guess. I guess maybe you do in these day and ages. I certainly didn't. I certainly didn't start a YouTube channel and being like, I wonder where this YouTube thing's gonna go. No, I legitimately didn't need it then, don't need it now, but I like doing it, so here we are. It definitely helped back then, I will say. Dude, where's T? I fucking couldn't find T. I still gotta get the stats anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah. That was kind of a really random thing I just decided to talk about. But I think it's cool to talk about. You know, the old days of the internet is definitely like this stemmed from Twitter. This stemmed from me talking about Twitter, which is crazy. And I recognize that I sound probably kind of, I want to say old. Consider me experienced, please. Not old. I don't want to be considered old. But I know that I probably sound old. And I feel as though my demographic is not too far from my age and or experience in like on the internet. But by any means, you know, I'm never going to shut down the opinions in the comments if you have a different thought on any of that. But legitimately, I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to double down. If you have heard of My Coke Studios, you either reach out to me or leave a comment. I will allow either. Cuz I got it. I got to know, man. I don't even remember my username on fucking My Coke Studios. I remember every username I've had since nick.com. And that was back in like 2005-ish. When Nicktropolis was a thing. My god, do you remember Nicktropolis? Jesus Christ. Nicktropolis was... I had a girlfriend in 3rd grade. And we would play Nicktropolis together online. Like, legitimately, like, a girlfriend from school. I didn't have an online girlfriend when I was in 3rd grade. That's problematic if you do that. But problematic in my eyes, I guess. You know, whatever. Yeah, we would get home from school, you know, hop on Nicktropolis, and like they had like rooms and stuff like that, and chat and everything. Let's see you bust something out. Seeing a trend here, guys. I just love games that have chat rooms, I guess. And I don't go on them now. Like I don't, and that's fine. I don't have to. I don't need to talk to anybody. I have Discord. Back then I didn't have anything like that. I had IRC. I only got IRC when I was like maybe in 7th grade. So, you know, still pretty young. I definitely was too young to be, I guess, talking to some... really... 7th grade, I was fine. I knew my way around the internet. I was not... And that's not just me being like, oh yeah, I'm hot shit. It's like, legitimately, I had been around so long that I was just so excited to have a new community to talk to. And that's when I got involved in the rock band community, was when I was in probably around 6th or 7th grade. The IRC thing came after the rock band community, because we had... I'm sorry if this is sounding like the most boring thing in the world, but this is very reminiscent. I like reminiscing on this a lot, because those were some of the funnest times I've ever had with people online. The rock band community was totally different as you know it today, but it's very similar in some ways, where it's very community based, right? Where it's like people just want to talk to you. They want to share like their FCs and stuff like that. It was the same thing back then, but to talk to each other, it was a little bit more challenging. These were the days of like some guy 913, I bite pretty hard. James like Coulter. Man, who else was there? But you get the idea. Like, these were the people that were streaming on Ustream, Blog TV, Strike Bowler 585, shit like that. Like, These were the guys that like pioneered the streaming game for Rock Band. And the only way you would be able to talk to people is through forums and shit like that on Score Hero. And pretty much just Score Hero. Like we would just talk on Score Hero. And AIM and stuff like that. ICQ, whatever you had. You could probably find somebody on there. MSN Messenger was a big one. I used MSN and AIM. But after a while, there were groups on... There was a new site that came up, created by DHO, who was a tech guru, as it seems. He was a contributor to Score Hero. He created a site called Social Gamer. Social Gamer was a site that encompassed all of the Rock Band streams that were currently live and soon to be live on Ustream and soon to be Justin TV. So on Social Gamer, you could sign up to have your stream shown on the page. Social Gamer was legitimately only for rhythm games, from what I remember, where if you are playing a rhythm game, you'll show up on Social Gamer. Kind of like how Speedruns Live ended up, where it was like you have to have like certain thing in your title or whatever. I think it was something like that. But Social Gamer used let me back up a little bit. You could use IRC before Social Gamer. IRC, you could connect to Ustream's chat platform using IRC, which is what a lot of people did. And we used it as a hub of sorts to just sit in chat rooms. Because it's not like... It's the same thing with... You can do it with Twitch today too. But there's very little point, I would say. You could just sit in the chat room for somebody. Like a lot of people would just sit in Azurite Reactions, I Bite Pretty Hard's chat room. I Bite's was probably the most popular one. That and Guitar Hero Phenom, where you would just sit in the chat room and talk to everybody because the chat was still alive. But when Social Gamer came around, they had their own IRC servers, and they had they're still around, by the way. You can just sit in their chat rooms instead. So everyone would rather sit in Social Gamers chat rooms than Ustreams. So what we would do is that you would just join their IRC. By the way, I don't know if everybody knows what IRC is. It's just a chat room. You join servers, right? Like you connect to a server, and then you need to know the chat room that you want to join. Right on. And for Social Gamer, it was always the name of the streamer with chat at the end. So it would be like I Bite Pretty Hard -chat. So everybody would be in that chat room. There was also just the normal Social Gamer chat, where it would just be like you know, hashtag Social Gamer, and you could just talk there. So just to give you perspective of how it was back then, and that's, I don't know why I decided to give that history lesson, but I just figured I'd let you know. It was a cool thing. Social Gamers IRC servers are still around, by the way. So you can still join their server. Nobody's really there except for like some of like some of the bots and bots. I think Verse Terminus is still there, but nobody really talks, so you won't really get much conversation. You can spark conversation, I guess, if you truly wanted. Yeah, just a fun history lesson of like life with the internet as a teenage boy when I was growing up. But anyway, I know that was kind of a really weird approach, or a really strange thing to talk about randomly, but that was my life. I look back on it very fondly, I will say. Oh man, I feel like I've talked too much. And I'm sure, like, these days too, like, I'm not gonna continue to harp on this, but like, I was thinking about this yesterday, because the way my mind works is that I'm not trying to, I never want to be the fucking, the old dude that is gonna be like, you kids don't fucking know whatever, blah blah blah. The thing that I think about is that the reason I feel like some people may think that is because they don't have the understanding of like what it is, um like what's the equivalent to what, you know, your parents didn't understand, right? It's not a lack of like maybe not understanding, it's more so just you don't want to ruin a kid's fun, right? You don't want to ruin that kind of like mentality of like you're invincible. You don't want kids to think they can't die, right? But you never want to take that away from a kid to feel like they should live in fear, right? The point of being a kid, in my eyes, is to live your life. Like, be excited for life, you know? Be disappointed about it later when, yeah, when real life really hits, but enjoy it while you can, right? And I feel like people, oh, special, nice. I feel like if you just harp on like kids don't understand or kids, you know, the kids are fucking rotting their brains or whatever, so what? You were probably rotting your brain on something else too. On that damn typewriter, damn it. Anyway, I'm sorry this got really fucking weird. This episode is not what I was expecting to talk about today, but I legitimately was thinking about this yesterday because I was trying to wrap it around my thoughts of how I can change my thought process of like how I can change my thoughts from, you know, these damn kids to being like, I get it. Like, I understand. Like, I don't ever want anyone to feel like they aren't, like they're doing something wrong, you know, like in terms of living their life. You know, I don't know. Anyway, that a really random thing to talk about today. So let me know your thoughts, though. You know, and very insightful to episode today, guys. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Live your life to the fullest. Have a wonderful day. And tomorrow we will be doing. I keep saying doing. It sounds so dirty. Tomorrow we will be playing as Jamie Thomas. I already know he's next, so see you guys.